You are in court because your attorney is late.
Okay, so we only take a record in this court when the judge tells you to? Is this a tactic on the court's part to attempt to wear out the defendant so they can't access their right to trial?
Oh, stop interrupting me.
Well, we're not on the record.
Stop interrupting me.
Right? I mean, we're not in court. If there's no
Interrupting me.
I mean, that's the reason I don't come to your court at 9, because I know in another court,
Things took an unexpected turn in the courtroom today. Normally, it's the defendant facing the heat, but this time, a lawyer found himself in the hot seat, thanks to his own attitude. Judge Boyd didn't hold back, calling him out for his unprofessional behavior, and honestly, it's hard to disagree. Lawyers are expected to maintain composure, not throw tantrums when things don't go their way. What do you think? Was the judge too harsh, or did this lawyer deserve the scolding? Drop your thoughts in the comments while we dive into this courtroom showdown.
Have signed a few of them at this point.
All right, so has there been any new discovery?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, so you can make sure that the acknowledgement of discovery, the state actually has it and the court has it, because it's not in the court's file. And Odyssey is doing things on its own. So I'm gonna have y'all come back tomorrow. You're not number one on the docket.
Okay.
There are a couple of cases that are ahead of you, so those cases may end up going for 4 years. We'll just see where we are, okay?
That's correct.
Respectfully, Your Honor, Mr. Rios always appears, always waits all day. This is impacting his employment. We would ask that if we're not likely to be called tomorrow, that we be released. Additionally, I have experts for this trial that we have attempted to bring in, but we never know, and because the case is older now, when we should bring those experts in. So I'm going to have to approach the court and request additional funds for those experts if we're reset. So I would ask the court either to give us some preference tomorrow for trial, or if we can't do that, to release Mr. Rios so that he can go to work.
All right, be here exactly at 9:30, okay?
Okay, yes.
All right, I'll supposed to be here exactly at 9:30.
You understand? Now, Your Honor, respectfully, every time we come to court, we lose an entire day of work ourselves, too. This is not typical of most of the courts in this county.
Oh, yeah, it is very typical.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You can say that, Judge, but I practice on
And
the
say
courts.
that. And it very is typical, because every attorney that's here has a case that's set for jury trial. And this is what ends up happening. What ends up
Happening is I will allow people to go to civil cases to be out of county, and then their client is sitting here waiting for them. And for some reason, that's the court's fault. That's not the court's fault when attorneys are not showing up at 9 or whatever, and then they stroll in at 9:30 or 9:45. So what I'm telling you all, 9:30, see y'all at 9:30. Thank you. Coordinator will give you a reset form.
Understood. Your Honor,
All right,
I'm
thank
trying to
you.
make a record. I don't see the court reporter typing.
What?
Okay, so we only take a record in this court when the judge tells you to? The case was called.
No, the case wasn't called. When I call the case, I call it by the style of the case.
Okay.
All right? All right, so I'll see y'all at 9:30.
Judge, I have to ask you, is this a tactic on the court's part to attempt to wear out?
What is this attorney even doing right now? Seriously, just take the exit while you can. The judge literally gave him a clear directive. Be back at 9:30 tomorrow. And instead of walking away, he turns around and accuses the court of trying to wear out the defendant. Let's be real. The only thing exhausting the defendant at this point is his own lawyer. This guy is running verbal laps around pure nonsense, and you have to wonder if his client is secretly regretting not representing himself. It almost feels like he has a personal grudge against Judge Boyd, which is wild because she seems like one of the most patient judges out there. But patience has its limits, and trust me, she's about to lose hers. Let me know in the comments what you think about this lawyer's attitude, and let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into the chaos.
When there is no proof and people are just throwing things out. Now, what I can tell you, and I'm sure your client is aware, sometimes when we end up coming to court, we come to court because there are discovery issues. Sometimes when you're in court, you are in court because your attorney is late. And when I say late, I mean that when a case is scheduled in this court and it's scheduled for 9 a.m. and attorneys go to different courts because they want to go to different courts first, it is not the court's fault that you're sitting here for 12 o'clock or 1:30 or coming back over break. Number one, I have a lunch break. And there was a point in time where I would not take a lunch break. And the reason why I wouldn't take a lunch break is because I said, you know what?
Make a record?
I've been a defense attorney. And when I was a defense attorney, what I would always do, I'm like, I have to be in like 5 courts. It would be nice if a court, if they could stagger their docket. And so sometimes I would be here, we wouldn't have a lunch break, and I would be here till 3 o'clock. And then you know what I discovered? When I would say that I want to be here till 3 o'clock, I'm working through lunch, other attorneys, you know what they would end up doing? Then they wouldn't show up in the morning. They would just show up at 1:30 or whatever, because they're like, oh, the judge is going to stay there. So I stopped doing that because I need a lunch break. And that's what happens.
So then my other question, I guess, is if you're not doing this to cause the hardship, it obviously causes on all the attorneys and the defendants. Are you doing this for the YouTube? Because we don't have a record, right? Except for the YouTube.
Yes, here's the thing. You're to be back tomorrow at 9:30. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And once you sign the reset form, you'll be here tomorrow. If somebody goes before you, somebody goes before you. Your counsel is well aware, or should be well aware, if he's been practicing in Bexar County.
This lawyer has been practicing in this county for nearly 20 years. And yet, here we are. It's almost unbelievable. The way he's handling this case is giving off some serious back alley, under-the-table energy, like the kind of lawyer who takes your case in a diner booth and then forgets to show up to court. But the real kicker? The sheer audacity of this guy to accuse Judge Boyd of using her YouTube stream for money. That's a wild claim. My guess? She probably just uses it for transcripts or documentation. But this lawyer? He's reaching hard. Judge Boyd is literally running a courtroom for the United States, and he's out here acting like she's some Twitch streamer grinding for donations. At this point, it's either a bizarre attempt to push her buttons or one of the most delusional legal performances I've ever seen. And honestly, defendant, blink twice if you need help.
Example, I had approximately 40 cases down for jury trial today. And what ends up happening, sometimes people who are in custody take precedent because their cases are older
I'm
than
asking
yours.
for a record, by the way.
You understand? Because they're older than yours. So that's what happens. So then what ends up
Hey, there
happening,
should be a record, right?
excuse me, stop interrupting me.
Well, we're not on the record,
Stop interrupting me.
right? I mean, we're not in
Stop
court. if there's no record.
interrupting me.
Sir, here's your reset form at 9:30.
So what ends up happening, sir, is that people who are in custody, sometimes their cases take precedent. And the reason why it takes precedent is because their cases are older and because the jail is overcrowded. Now, as you may or may not be aware, I call the docket all the time at 9 a.m. And sometimes when I call the docket at 9 a.m., defense attorneys are not here. Your attorney knows when he has not been here at 9 a.m. And then you have to wait. And you
Judge,
need
you're
to
aware
be
that every
here.
court starts at 9.
And you need to
I have
be
other
here.
cases.
And you need to be here at 9. So when your attorney is somewhere at another court, you know what ends up happening? Your attorney has made the choice to have you sit here and go to another court before
Well,
coming
that's not
here.
exactly true,
You
because all of
understand?
those courts got
All right,
business
good luck to
accomplished.
you.
All
Thank
of us
you.
got
Thank you,
recalled
sir.
today,
Thank you,
right,
sir.
Judge? So, I mean, what did we accomplish?
Have a nice
today?
afternoon, sir.
I
Sir,
mean, that's the reason I don't come to your court at 9, because I know in another court,
Sir,
something's
here's your
going to
answer.
actually occur.
sir,
And their courts are exactly the same.
Sir, don't go anywhere just yet, because this disaster isn't over. Judge Vo is ready to move on to the next case, but this guy, he just won't take the hint. Instead of leaving, he's still lingering around like he's waiting for an encore. Next voice, next voice? I got to say, I'm completely with Judge Boyd on this one. This lawyer was supposed to be in court at 9:00 a.m., but instead, he strolled in whenever he felt like it. Then, when the judge made him wait, because, he was late, he had the nerve to throw a fit when she laid out the facts. Courtrooms run on tight schedules for a reason. Judges have packed dockets. Judge Boyd even mentioned she had 40 trials lined up today. Lawyers, like any other professionals, are expected to be on time. Key word, professional. But this guy, he seemed to think he could just show up fashionably late and get VIP treatment. And let's talk about the meltdown. The way he completely crumbled under pressure? Totally unprofessional. Honestly, this was less seasoned attorney and more toddler throwing a tantrum because snack time got skipped. If you're this emotional over a judge not rearranging her entire schedule for you, maybe practicing law isn't the best fit because keeping your composure is kind of crucial when defending people's rights. What do you guys think? Are you siding with Judge Boyd, or do you see something I don't? Let me know in the comments. That's a wrap for this one. If you enjoyed this court breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. I post every day, so stay tuned for more wild courtroom moments and insane reactions. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.